everyone. This is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com. So this class is about sleep, yoga and sleep. How to relax our bodies after a long, long day. When we've accumulated stress throughout the day, worries, concerns, all these thoughts and planning and conflict resolution, all the things that happen during the day. What happens so often for us is we get into bed and our minds are still going a mile a minute. So we think all day, we think when we're trying to go to sleep. So what this class is going to do for you is I'm going to teach you how to release the stress from the body. And when I shake my hands, that's exactly what we'll be doing. We'll be doing this kind of shaking of our hands and our legs to start. It might seem very kind of silly at first, but it's actually it's a instinct in all animals that when they're under any kind of stress, they shake, their bodies shake. Now remember, we're animals too. Children do it, they have tantrums. You find that, you're like wondering, well, why are you having such a tantrum? Well, that's their way of releasing their tension and their stress. Adults tend not to do that because we might not be in the right place to we won't have a tantrum maybe, or we won't shake our bodies out because it's odd, it's strange, but it's actually it's part of our nature. So we're going to get started. And you will see, and I'm almost guaranteed you'll sleep very deeply because you would have, ridden yourself of all this extra stress. So I'm going to have you actually come up to standing to start with the class. We're going to do some, gentle movements, somewhat gentle, and then we're going to wind down. So we'll start with standing and then we'll actually wind ourselves down into our Savasana. Now, I suggest you're at the long end of your mat, so the longest part, because we're going to be opening up our legs wide and we're not doing any sun salutations or anything today. Let's just let our arms rest next to our sides, just let them hang. And feet are slightly wider than hip distance apart, whatever feels good for you. And let's just start with first standing, and we'll connect with the breath. Every time you inhale, I want you to say you let, and then every time you exhale, go. So inhale, let, and then go. So what you're doing is you're letting go of the day, of whatever happened today, whatever you might be thinking of in the evening. It's just you're letting it all just kind of like a waterfall drip down, flow through the body all the way through into the ground. So let's close the eyes if that feels okay for you to do so, or keep the eyes towards the ground with a soft gaze. And let's take 3 deep breaths here. Inhaling, let, and exhaling, go. Let it all go. Inhaling, let, and exhaling, go. Let's do one more. Inhale, let, and then let your eyes open and then go. So we're going to start with just shaking our arms, this little gyration of the arms and the legs and nothing, and as you just take a deep breath in and exhale through the mouth. And you can go as fast or as slow as you wish, or as vigorous as you wish. If you have a lot of stuff that you've been carrying with you, just say, I've had enough, this is gone, I don't need to carry it with me anymore, and just shake and shake and shake and shake. So there's a little bit of a bounce. So I'm going to give you a few more moments to do this shake. You can actually do this any time of the day, probably about an hour before sleep. This works perfectly fine. Take a breath in and go, and inhale, And and then coming back to stillness, breathing in and breathing out. Now the feet can open up a little bit wider here, maybe about as wide as the width of a mat, if you're standing on the shorter end. And then start to let the arms sway from side to side, twisting, rotating. This, you can rotate from the hips, the pelvis here. Just make sure the knees aren't turning too much to the sides. And let the arms dangle from side, let them dangle, flop, without any need to do anything with them. Just allow them to follow the twist. Now you can make fists with these hands, and when they tap your body, this is a nice way of releasing stress, tension, but also it stimulates the lymphatic system, circulatory system. This is a really wonderful technique to kind of get the energy moving through the body, all that stuck stuff that we carry with us. So take a breath in and out. So you think, is this yoga? Yes, it's yoga. It's yoga. And then slowly start coming back, swaying from side to side. Open up the fingers, the hands, and just let them sway from side to side. Now the legs open up a little bit more. And then we're going to slowly let ourselves settle down into a horse stance. So the legs are wide, the knees are directly over the ankle or slightly behind, but not beyond. Let's just do a few little sways, hands on the thighs, little sways from side to side. Keep the breath moving. Inhaling, let. Exhaling, go. Let everything go. And then from here, coming back to stillness, sitting deeper. And that might mean that your knees have to open up, your feet are opening up, that horse stance, toes out, heels in. Take your hands on top of the thighs. And then just sit down for one moment. And then inhaling, I want you to straighten the legs and straighten the arms. So we're coming into a what is it called now? Reach the arms, that will come to me. A starfish, that's it. Stretch through those arms, stretch through those legs. There's so many names that you have to remember in yoga, and these aren't even Sanskrit. They're just English names. And reach them, reach them, reach them. So your arms are reaching out in either direction. And you can reach back, open up the chest a little bit if you'd like. Take an inhale. Deep breath in, and then exhale, let the arms float down. Maybe even just take the arms and shake them. Then inhale, reach back up into that starfish shape. Take a deep breath in, stretch through all corners of your body, and then exhale, shake the arms down. Inhale, lift and open. I have to say, these are some of my favorite yoga postures, because they do make you just feel better. You feel like a new person. Take an inhale and exhale. And if it's even during the day you're doing this, this can help you, motivate you and energize you, believe it or not. And then lift the arms up and then hands back to your thighs. This time, place your hands on your thighs with your thumbs pointing forward, fingers back. And we're going to do this, and take your bottom, push it slightly back behind you. Take an inhale, and then exhale. Twist your right shoulder to your left knee. And this is our spinal twist. Try and keep your pelvis stable, so you're twisting from the waist. Breathing in and out, and then return to center. Exhaling, stretching that left shoulder, twisting towards the right knee. And pushing into that left hand as if you're trying to push that left knee away. So different times of the day this works. It's created for sleep, or designed for sleep. But if it's during the day or the morning, it actually is an energizer. Right shoulder towards left knee. It's because of it's called adenoids, which is a sleep type hormone, which doesn't start to build up until it builds up throughout the day, left shoulder to right. So when you have that in your system, this will help you sleep. When it's not really, there's not much in your system, this will energize you. Makes sense, right? Come back to center, lift all the way up nice and tall. Whew. Turn your toes forward, slightly in, and maybe bring the feet a bit closer. And let's fold all the way down into the forward bend. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Let it out. Let go. Inhaling, let. Exhaling, go. So from here, take your opposite hand to the opposite elbow. Allow the arms to get very heavy. You're feeling supported by your feet. Your head is hanging down. There's no tension in that neck. Shake your head no, shake your head yes. Maybe a few little sways from side to side. And let's keep the breath flowing as we stretch out the spine and the backs of our legs. And you can always bring the feet closer in. They don't have to be this wide if this is too much for you. Then release the hands to the ground. And we're going to, your feet can open a little wider if you want, or keep them where they are. And let's bend and straighten the legs. Your hands can stay on the ground, or you can actually slide the hands across the ground as if you're washing the floor with your hands. And you're leaning down, shining the floor, waxing it. And using the breath, inhaling and exhaling. Letting go of anything you're carrying in your bodies, in your mind, clearing it all out. One more time, inhale, then exhale. Come back to center. Turn the toes slightly in, soften the knees, and bring your hands, interlace them, place them behind your head. So where the thumbs are meeting are those muscles that are attached to the skull from the neck. And drop your head down, elbows angle downward. And let the arms become heavy. They're not meant to tug, but they're there to create a little bit more extra weight, just a little bit. So this is traction. And breathe in. Let's take another 2 breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Go. Let go. Inhaling and exhaling. Go. And then release the hands to the ground. And let's heel toe the feet back towards each other, about hip distance. Stretch through those arms, stretch through those legs. And then lower yourself onto your hands and knees. And as we transition into poses, maintain the attention, keep that mind on each movement. And once we're on our hands and knees are under hips, let's just press back into a child's pose. Stretch through those arms, forehead resting. And keep the inhaling and exhaling. So this is the second part of this practice. This is now the stretch out. Stretching and swaying your hips from side to side. And then working on some hip openers. Inhaling into your tabletop. Let's curl the toes under. Let's do a few little wags of the tails. Take your tailbone and wag it from side to side. Now, if you want to keep the toes curled under, that's fine, or flatten out the feet, depending on how you feel. Take an inhale and exhaling, rounding through the spine, cat stretch, holding this cat stretch. So getting heavy in the hands as if you're almost melting towards the ground, and then lift up, light as a feather. Inhaling and exhaling. So the breath is what helps to move your energy, your stuck energy, your stressful energy, your negative energy through the body. So when you go to sleep, you won't have it all there. There'll be less and less of it. Place the tops of the feet on the ground. Lift your heart forward into your cow stretch. Take a breath in. A few cats and cows here. Let's say 2 sets. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. Inhaling, lifting your heart forward, arching your lower back. Exhaling, rounding, drawing the tummy in towards the spine. Exhale, go. Inhale, let. And then inhale back into your neutral spine. Sit back to your heels and then take the hands on your thighs. Slide the hands all the way up the sides, the thighs, sides. And then place your hands behind your back and lift your heart. And we're going to stretch out the tops of our legs, the quads, which tend to hold a lot of tension, especially if you do quite a lot of yoga too, or any kind of exercise. I want you to lift your bottom up. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you at all, come off your heels and just lean back with the hands on your lower back. So we'll do that now. Lower the bottom down. Let's lift off our heels and take your hands on your lower back and just push your hips forward, so you should feel a stretch all the way up those thighs. And use the hands to support your lower back. So a little bit of a back bend, but more of a quad stretch. So when you go to bed, you have all this tension. There's no more tension. There's less of that. And then come all the way down to your heels. And then come into your tabletop. Let's curl the toes under. Let's take a breath in. And as you breathe out, downward dog. Stretch out through those legs. Become mindful of what you're doing. Bring your attention to whatever you're doing in your downward dog. If it's a stretch, a full static stretch, then do that. Or come into a dynamic where you're bending and straightening the legs. That might be the thing you need right now. Listen into the body, what it is asking. It will tell you, because you'll feel this urge to do something. Not mindlessly, but when you're mindful, that's when you can hear what your body needs. So if it's a static stretch where you hold the stretch, or you come into a more dynamic, that's another, and your body might need that. So take a breath in and come back to stillness. Bring your left foot in towards your right foot. Just reach your right leg back. You can do this also on your hands and knees as well. You don't have to be in a downward dog. Just bend your right leg just about halfway, not too high. And let's turn your right knee out to the side a little bit, to the right, and let's circle the hip joint 2 times in one direction and 2 times in the other. For some, this is a lot to do in a downward dog. So you just come onto that left knee and do it that way. And then come back to stillness. Reach your right leg. Re-straighten your right leg now, or straighten your right leg. Take an inhale and exhale. Step your right foot to the outside of that right foot. Slide your left leg back. So your right foot is outside your right hand, either on a little diagonal or bring it closer in. Depends on how open your hips are. My hips are pretty tight right now, so I'm going to turn my toes out. And then we either stay in with our arms straight, or if you feel pretty good here, you can come onto one forearm or another, and maybe both. And use this time. And there's the other option of curling the back toes under, lifting that left knee off the ground, and do a few little sways from side to side. Using that breath, inhaling, returning to the breath if you've lost the Ujjayi breath. Stretching out our hips, which carry a huge amount, an enormous amount of stress from sitting. And then lower your left knee down. I'm going to just swing back to where I was. And we're going to do a quad stretch. So bring your right foot in a little bit closer. Arms are straighten your arms. And then lift your left leg up. So you might find this doesn't work for you. So another option is to keep it down. Reach your left foot down or pick it up. If you can remain above the kneecap, to reach your right arm forward and then up towards the sky, circle it all the way back, and see if you could grab hold of the inner edge of that left foot. If that doesn't work for you, just keep your left leg down and reach your right arm up to the sky. And breathe in and out. So I do a little bit. You could hold this and breathe, or a little bit of a wiggle and tiny movement might feel good on you, on your hips and your thighs. And then take an inhale and exhale. Lower that left foot down. Let's step back, downward dog. Take a pause here, breathing in and breathing out. Lowering the knees down, sitting back to your heels. We'll do the other side in a moment. Sliding your hands on your knees and then reaching your arms up to the sky. Bring the hands together in prayer. Squeezing the fingers together and crossing the thumbs. So it's more like a karate chop type of shape. And arms reach forward, placing the outer edges of those hands on the ground, sliding them as far forward as you comfortably can. Knees can open up a little bit wider, and forehead resting on the ground. Take a breath in. And every time you breathe in, press into the back of the body. See if you can open up that, the back of the ribs a little bit. Create space there. So a different kind of a stretch, working different muscles you can probably feel in. Especially for going to bed, you feel like you need to stretch out these muscles. Then we're going to just soften the elbows down and open the hands out. Place the palms on the ground, so about shoulder distance. Now flip the palms up. We're going to do something quite unusual, something I haven't done until now, is take your hands and squeeze them together, make fists. With the palms are going to be facing up, so the hands are in a fist. And we're going to just simply circle the hands around as if we're wiping the floor with the backs of our hands. So semicircles, full circles. I can actually feel my upper shoulders working. So the trapezius muscles are working. And then go in the opposite direction. So all you're doing is drawing circles with the back of the hand, rubbing them against the ground as if you're wiping the ground, and then release the hands, spin them back, and let's inhale into your tabletop. So it's kind of like a circling, and they're pressing down into the ground. Take an inhale and exhale, downward dog. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, bring your right foot in towards your left. You can do this on hands or knees, or stay in your downward dog. Just bend your left knee, bring it about halfway up, and then turn the left knee out to the side, and then circle our hips twice in one direction and then twice in the other. Keep the breath moving and then the other direction. So very slow, nothing too intense, fast for when you're preparing for bed or just trying to re-energize yourself. Let's bring your left knee in towards the center of your body, then step it to the outside of that left hand, coming into lizard on the other side. Left foot turns out just a little bit to the left on a diagonal if that feels better for your hips. Start with the arms straight and then explore where you might be able to go. If you can go deeper, come onto the forearms, 1, 2, and then if you feel really comfortable in this position, curl the toes under and pick your right knee up. And breathing in, and breathing out, go. So imagine all the tension from sitting, from whatever you were doing today, is being expelled out of your hip joints. Exhale through the mouth. Then take an inhale and lift as you exhale, lift back up onto your hands, straight arms, and heel toe that left foot in just a little bit closer towards your left hand. Bend your right knee. This is only an option. You don't have to do this. Reach your left arm forward, spin it up towards the sky, circle it around. See if you can grab hold of the inside of that right foot. And then bring that heel in towards that right bottom cheek. So you open up the shoulders. If this doesn't work, left arm up, right foot down. Not all of us have the flexibility in their hamstrings or their quads to be able to do this, especially maybe at this moment. If you're really warmed up, maybe you can do that. And then lower the right foot down and curl the back toes and then curl the toes under. Exhale, downward dog. Stretching through those legs. Take one full breath here. Inhaling, coming onto the toes, exhaling, pressing the heels down. Exhale through the mouth. And then lowering the knees to the ground. Come onto your right hip and swing your legs forward. So when we sleep better, everything else falls into place. When we don't sleep well, the whole day we're in a different mindset. We eat different, we feel different, we're less productive. So sleep is very important. That's one of the gifts of yoga in my mind. So what we're doing here, we're going to come into either feet flat on the ground or come into a boat where you lift your legs up, your hands start underneath the knees as a support, and maybe take the arms out to the sides. From here, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, either place the feet down and roll down, or keep your feet up and follow me as we slowly lower ourselves down onto our backs from the boat, and then lower, 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 and then stretch. Once we've touched down, stretch the arms away from the legs. Take a long, deep stretch. And let's open the legs out to the sides. Let the arms open a few inches from your body. We often do spinal twists here, and you're welcome to if you're familiar with spinal twists. Other than that, because we've done a lot of stretching and twisting already, let your body melt into the mat, into Savasana, the final resting pose. Just take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale audibly through the mouth. Go. Do that 2 more times. Inhale. And then exhale through the mouth. One more time. Inhale. And exhale through the mouth. And allow your body to settle and melt, become heavy. Nothing more to do. Let everything go. As you remain in Savasana for about 2 to 5 minutes, I will come up to seal the practice for this session. With suggesting that you do this before bed as often, maybe every night. It's not a long time, not a long session. You'd not only feel more calm and at ease, but you'll feel your body will start to change as well, because we're doing a lot of lengthening and stretching, and so there's also the remodeling of the muscles. It's called muscle remodeling. muscle modeling or something like that. So as I bring my hands in front of my heart to seal our practice for this session on sleep, letting go, letting go. This is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com. Thank you so much for being with me. And if you enjoy my classes, you can subscribe by pressing the button on the right side. You comment, let me know how you feel, and thumbs up. Other than that, thank you so much. Namaste, everyone. I'll see you soon.